Hello, cheers.
Are you saying hello to me or
I'm
to
saying
them?
hello to them, but I'm so used to recording the podcast now, talking to you. It feels really strange doing it, talking to YouTube as well. But if you didn't already know, we have a podcast called You, Me and Design, which we're so grateful for how well it's doing and how well received it is. And it's basically where we chat about interiors and life and have a cocktail, have a bit of a laugh.
Speaking of, I need to make a cocktail.
Yes, we're just going to finish our glass of champagne. We always like to have a drink or two before to get us in the mood. We're currently recording from a small cottage that we're staying in, which we booked as a last minute trip, and we wanted to record an episode here. So basically, you're listening to an episode of our podcast. It's just us chatting, having a cocktail, hopefully things that you'll find interesting on YouTube as well. And if you enjoy this, let us know and we'll upload every episode of our podcast here so you can see it as well as like an additional vlog. So normally on a Sunday it would be the same, but it would just be coming out on a Friday like our podcast. And if not, if you want to just listen, it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, all of the usual things, and we'll leave it linked down below. But yeah, we're going to get into it now, make the cocktail, and the sound quality will be a lot better for the rest of the video because it will be through our microphones. We just wanted to record a little extra to introduce you to the podcast and what we're doing.
YouTube exclusive.
Yeah, a YT exclusive.
Never heard anywhere else before.
Well, yeah, I was going to be like, the podcast is heard elsewhere.
Well, not this little bit that they're getting. I'm getting behind the scenes.
Cheers.
Cheers. Let's make the drink.
Welcome to You, Me and Design with me, Toby, and my husband, Mikey. We're the interior design podcast where we chat about home trends, our decor icks, and help with your own design dilemmas, all while sipping a different cocktail each week. Cheers! Right, shall we get into it?
Let's get into it. Is this episode 4?
Episode 4.
Episode 4.
A month of the podcast. Oh, that was quite a good
nice
cheers. So for anyone listening at... Are we going to cheers again?
That's quite a nice one.
For anyone listening at home, we're actually recording this week's episode for the first time, and we're actually away from home. So we are in another cottage. It's called Blacksmith's Cottage. Honestly, it's so nice.
It's stunning.
Like, a really, really nice place. We've lucked out. We booked it really last minute. We were just quite desperate for a mini break, weren't we?
But sort of like a casual break. Where it didn't feel that intense.
Yeah.
You know, if you go abroad, I know we've had this conversation, but going abroad feels like a lot of, almost you get a bit of stress, and I know that's such a first world problem, but it is more stressful to go abroad because you've got the flight and the packing and everything like that. Whereas coming in the car, you can just leave when you want.
Also, you can take everything you like.
Like,
we literally have packed our whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and alcohol as well. I mean, speaking of, we'll get onto the drink in a sec, but we have packed like 3 bottles of champagne, a couple of bottles of wine.
The only downside was we couldn't bring the dogs.
Yes.
Which is a kind of downside. It's actually nice to
have
be
a
just the
little
two
breather.
of us, but it meant we had to sort out dog cover.
Yeah.
But
now
it's worked out well because we actually had a very nice day shopping in Manchester.
We did. Before we go into that,
let's go through the cocktail.
Because we have had a lot of feedback from all of our lovely listeners, actually. I think we've had a lot of messages and people we've seen in real life as well saying you need to share your cocktail recipe at the start of every podcast episode. So we will. Today had to compromise a little bit, which I feel like a cop-out because last week we had a gin and tonic, which is not really a cocktail. And this week... It's a cocktail, but we had to make do. We've had to make do. It's shaken. Everyone on the vlog version of the podcast will actually be able to see it, but it's a kind of pinkish reddish colour.
It's my thing.
It's Mikey made it.
So it's 1 part vodka, 1 part strawberry liqueur, which we bought today, and then 1 part elderflower cordial, topped with Prosecco. But you probably could top it with soda.
No, ours is actually topped with champagne.
Oh, ours is topped with champagne.
We've just had champagne.
But I think it probably would be quite nice with Prosecco.
Yeah.
Because you might not want to waste the good stuff on a cocktail.
Yeah, it might be fresher with Prosecco.
I haven't actually tried it yet, have you?
Yeah, really nice. Should we cheers once more?
Again.
Oh, God, this is something you're going to just have to learn about us. We cheers. And people actually get quite annoyed.
Oh, that's
so
actually
much.
Quite nice.
Yeah, it is nice. It's refreshing.
I like that. Maybe as well we should start putting the cocktail in
mine.
the description as well.
Yeah, I think
So
so.
that people can read the description if they want to make it.
So if anyone is listening at home or wants to have a cocktail this evening or over the weekend or something, that's what we're having. Feel free to pause, make it, and drink along with us because we've...
Should we give it a name? Sorry, I wasn't shushing you then.
I was like,
I was about to interrupt
rude.
you and then I stopped myself.
Shh. You were
Fingers
shushing
on
yourself. Yeah, let's give it a name. Who's got the best name? Let's both think and come up with one. I can't think of anything.
I'm going to call it a fruity floral fizz.
That's nice.
That's quite nice.
Yeah, I like that.
Alliteration.
I'm going to call it a StrawbFlower.
Okay.
That's quite nice, isn't it?
It kind of sounds a little bit
A
sexual.
StrawbFlower Spritz.
A StrawbFlower.
A StrawbFlower Spritz.
Oh, don't look at my StrawbFlower.
Ooh, can you lick my StrawbFlower?
Maybe that's too far. That one's too far.
Touch my
Have a
StrawbFlower.
little taste of my StrawbFlower. Go on.
This StrawbFlower tastes good. Anyway,
let's enjoy the straw.
That StrawbFlower's good. Anyway, we are away, so we're in this cottage, which is really nice, and I don't know if we said where it is, but it's actually in Cheshire, which is our first time being
it's a new
north
place
of
for us.
Birmingham.
No, we've been to Manchester before.
Oh, you've been twice.
I've been twice. A lot of my friends came to uni in Manchester, so I've been.
Maybe
I've actually been 3
of your
times.
friends.
Pretty much all of my year at school went to Manchester.
Yeah, but how many of them were your actual friends, Mikey? About 3?
3, 4, 5, 6.
That's a lie.
So I have been to Manchester, but this is Cheshire, obviously. So
This is Cheshire. We have been to a festival in Manchester, which is quite laughable considering.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier actually on the vlog because we went to a festival in Manchester and Toby and his sister halfway through just basically decided they'd had enough because they didn't like being in the field and just wasn't really your scene, was it? So you just left and I was left with, well, not left with, I knew them. Obviously, they were your friends though.
My friends.
I had the time of my life. I loved it.
I've
been to quite a few festivals.
That's just not a me
That was
thing.
a past life.
I mean, let us know. Please reply to the podcast. Let us know if you're a festival goer or not, because for me, I'm all about like a day party. I actually said earlier to Mikey, I would always be the last one standing at a party. I feel like I can't think of a time. Like,
unless you'll like pass out.
It's normally 5 a.m. at least for me. I love a party. I love socializing and having fun, but put me in a field with mud and...
Yeah, you do also have quite bad hay fever, so that's not great.
Yeah, we'll blame it on the hay fever, not on me.
Not the boringness.
Not just me not liking being outdoors, but...
We're not all made for the outdoors.
All made for the outdoors. But anyway, that was a long tangent. We're in Cheshire, and today we spent some time in the Trafford Centre, which... In Manchester. I don't know if anyone lives in Manchester, but I honestly felt like I was in Vegas.
Yeah, the Trafford Centre did feel like well, no, because it actually was basically like Vegas because the food court, would you call it a food court? The food court was split into different areas of the world. So we came in New Orleans and then you walked into the middle of the food court and there was a super yacht it was a cruise.
The top deck of the cruise.
Yeah, and the ceiling was a sky because it was meant to be out in the sea with like stars and then there was like a Greece zone and an Italian zone. It was really cool.
It was
interesting.
Did feel
like a theme park.
It was also interesting because it was clearly quite old, but it was really...
It was very enjoyable.
If anyone has been, I'm sure a lot of you will have been to Harrods. Yeah. You know how they have the Egyptian lift, escalator and lift area. Kind of felt like that, where it's like you're in a theme park but very strange experience. Did some nice shopping.
The people are so friendly. I said friendly. You can tell why people from the north come down to the south and think we're all horrible.
Think we're all vile.
They're so friendly. We bought some perfume in Selfridges, and the woman was so nice. She was so good at her job and really so friendly. Nice.
Yeah, so friendly. I think it makes such a difference. That's actually something we say a lot. Like having good customer service makes the biggest difference.
Especially for people like us, because we're easily sold to.
Yeah, honestly, we went over to the counter in Selfridges and weren't planning on buying any perfume.
Sniff a few fumes.
Literally, £300 later.
Yeah, she did upsell as well, because she was
really
like, this size is 100 and whatever, and we were like,
this size is 100 and whatever.
She wasn't. Oh no, she was Liverpudlian.
Was she Liverpudlian? Yeah.
But then she was like, but double the size is only 200. It was like £80 more.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, that's such a good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easily sold to. Do you know the easiest sold to person? I hope she doesn't mind me saying if she listens.
My mum.
Mikey's mum. Oh my God.
Sponsor her a Facebook ad and she'll buy it.
Yeah, everything. Almost every conversation, actually. So we went to a cookery course yesterday, and I swear I heard maybe 3 or 4 times out of her mouth saying, oh, from Facebook, I got this, blah, blah, blah.
She loves a Facebook
I didn't even
ad.
know Facebook ads were a thing.
I know. She'll be listening now. So hi, Mum. Sorry for outing you.
Well, it's all said in jest. Yeah. I hope you know.
She's got some good things. Some not so good things.
Some not so good things, like those Halloween jumpers that
could
you
have gone up in flames.
And you also bought as a present for a friend. But yeah, anyway, we're away, and also being away has been very inspiring, because we say this all the time, but going on holidays and mini breaks is so inspiring if you're designing or decorating your house, isn't it?
Hotels, I think, are the best place to come for inspiration, because even if the hotel isn't your decor for what you would want for your house, you'll find something that they've done that you're like, oh, I'd like to do that in my house. Even just a silly thing, like if there's a storage thing for a hairdryer, or just weird things like that, you'll learn. Or if they don't have it,
like here, honestly, almost the only thing that they don't have that we've said was something to do with the hairdryer, which we said, oh, if this were in our house, we do this. So it's really nice, because you also think, okay, when we next move and we renovate, we need to remember that we want those things.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is good.
But I do love getting inspiration from hotels.
I love it. This one is so nice.
Yeah.
So for people who are listening on YouTube, you will have hopefully seen some of it already. But for the people on the podcast, it's basically a studio cottage with vaulted ceilings, oak beams,
log burner,
really simple decor though. Which actually someone said to me recently, only yesterday actually, when we were at the cookery course, that they were talking about a designer and their style is very cottagey, and they were saying that it almost makes our cottage and style look really contemporary, which is kind of similar to this. Like I like quite clean decor and quite pared back, like not over the top cottage core, and this does that really, really well, and it's made us think a lot about our onward move, which we've made a pact that we're actually not going to talk about.
Yeah, and it's not happening right now. So
before anyone asks,
speculate.
We're not moving right now, but
when we do, you won't know.
When we do, you will only know on the day we complete. So that's all I'm going to say. Nothing's happening, but that's all I'm going to say. But yeah, this is quite inspiring for what we'll hopefully get, and also has made us think quite a lot about what we'll... I don't know.
This has also been the first time, which we were saying, which is so strange. We've been together for nearly 10 years, and this is the first time that we've ever done
self-catering.
Yeah, like it's not Airbnb, but like an Airbnb vibe. Yeah. We haven't done one at all. We've only stayed in hotels.
Sure.
We've done family holidays in
family holidays,
but we've never booked
or friend holidays.
Friend holidays, but not just the two of us staying in a cottage.
We always stay in hotels. We stayed in the cottage in Dormy House, which
is a hotel.
It's a hotel. It's just got a small kind of area to. So yeah, it's a really nice thing that, considering we love
drinking and eating,
platters of plenty.
A platter of plenty.
Anyone who listened to the last episode will know. Considering we love sharing, bring and share, platter of plenty, picky tea. Yeah. This is great, because last night we got a Chinese takeaway.
Oh, it was so good.
Which was really nice. Yeah. And then for dinner tonight, we've just had a few kind of crisps and dips, which has been lovely. And now we obviously are recording the podcast, a couple of cocktails, and then we're just going to have... Olives. We bought some like prawns and olives and some falafel and just little nibbly bits.
Yeah, so just lay it
nibbly
out.
Bits.
What? My StrawbFlower and my nibbly
bits. Put your nibbly bits in my StrawbFlower.
Oh, God. God.
Anyway, shall we get on with the podcast? For anyone new listening, particularly the YouTube people who maybe haven't been here before, we actually do talk about interiors mainly, but that was just a big old catch up. And
that's basically an insight into what we do all day, every day. We just
talk about our nipply piss.
About random rubbish, basically.
Right, should we crack on?
Let's
do it. This podcast episode is all about
new builds.
New builds. Cheers to new builds.
Cheers to new builds.
Right, so we are talking about new builds today.
Yes,
we obviously personally you've never lived in a new build?
Not a brand new build.
Oh, we did live in...
The flat was quite new.
So we lived in an apartment prior to the cottage.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, we actually have only lived together
for
5 years.
Oh, we say only 5 years.
Only 5, a long time. We've been together for nearly 10, and we first lived in an apartment in a city centre. It was quite modern, like 20 years maybe.
I think it was built in 2005.
Okay,
so that's relatively new.
About 15 years, less than 15 years when we moved in. And so we renovated that to an extent. It probably wasn't exactly as our style is, because that's evolved and changed.
And we did not have the money to do it.
No, we were working, saving, trying to do little bits. But we don't live in a new build now, but I've designed quite a few new builds, and we've also really considered buying a new build, haven't we?
We went through a stage when we were thinking about moving more prior to TobysHome, and we just went around all the new build estates constantly. The show homes were so much fun.
Love doing that. I would do that. So great. I would do it tomorrow. We could.
Should we?
Oh my God.
We could.
Tomorrow, should we find like a really nice new build here? Oh. Okay, let us know if you want a tour of a new build, because we'll do that tomorrow. So much fun.
But yeah, we did actually very much consider moving to a new build.
Yeah, we actually had
we nearly had an offer accepted before COVID.
We did have it accepted. We just something fell through because of COVID. Yeah.
So we're not opposed to a new
build.
So
we're not opposed to a new build, but basically we thought with the podcast, for those of you that have listened to the last few episodes, every time Mikey kind of chooses a topic, which is still very much the case, but we thought instead we're going to try and kind of tailor this section of the podcast to be just a bit more of the theme of the episode, and a bit of a more overview chat about that subject. And we'd love to have your thoughts on it as well, and then maybe in the next episode we can talk a bit about that. Or we've even thought about setting up some kind of page where everyone can message about different things, and we can do like polls and have a bit of a community, because I think that would feel really nice. Whether it's, I know other podcasts do it, it's not an original idea, but whether it's like a Facebook page or one of the like group chat things on Instagram where we can all send things, I think that'd be really cool. So cool
for now,
really cool.
Awesome. For now though, if you have any ideas about what you would love us to talk about or like to hear about, then message us, email us, hello@tobyshome.com, or I know on Spotify you can reply to the episode. So if you want to hear anything, let us know, and if we think we can get an hour out of it, then we'll do
it. But new builds, hopefully we don't need to talk too long. We've still got talk too long. We've still got our icks, and we're also bringing back Tacky or Tasteful.
Yeah, that was quite a big hit,
which a lot of people liked, so that's fun.
Yeah,
but new builds. Okay, so what do we want to say? Mikey, grill me.
Well, what we decided, because I had come up with a topic of the week to do with, or the question of the week to do with new builds.
Yeah.
So I guess we could start with that.
Okay.
But I always think on Instagram, you always see people saying like new builds have no character.
A lot of people ask me that
there's no soul in new builds, blah, blah, blah. So like, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that they are just soulless, or
do you know my like overview of the subject of new builds? Obviously we've considered buying one, and I still would to kind of, what's the word, preface it. I was going to say preface.
I think you can say
I think
that.
you can say either.
Personal choice.
But my like overarching thing would be we would buy a new build. I would 100% still be open to buying a new build if it was the right property in the right area, plot, all of those things. And the other thing I think that's really important to consider is that every home was a new build once.
Exactly.
So our home, it's 200 years old. That was a new build 200 years ago. And I know they were different, they're built differently, but a new build and the standard of a new build aren't
the same.
They don't correlate. They're not the same thing. So you can get developers who make the most amazing new builds with really good craftsmanship, luxury kitchens, bathrooms, all of those things. And you can get developers that are more mass market that might not do those things, that can also be great or be more shoddy, which is fine. And if it's affordable and practical and in a good location and serves you, and if you have your family well, you can really add to them. So firstly, I would say new builds are not bad.
No.
I think there's a big stigma. And I also think, shout out to you, Mum, my parents kind of did teach me, and I think yours probably the same, that new builds weren't as good.
Yeah.
I think that's a really common thing, especially maybe down south.
Yeah, everyone down south is very, well, not everyone down south, but a lot of people down south are very like set on period properties being the
Victorian
best kind
or
of
Georgian or...
And I've definitely been...
Yeah, same.
What's the word? I've definitely been...
I don't know.
Victim of that? Not victim. I'm not a victim of it.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You've been like I've persuaded to believe that.
I used to think that.
Yeah.
Like when we'd know people who would buy new builds, I'd be like, why are they buying a new build? I don't get it.
Sorry, my watch is...
Whereas I've changed...
Oh, speak of the devil, your mum's just messaged me.
Whereas I've changed my view on that since we have owned a house, and when we were looking at buying a new build, I did see the appeal of them a lot, especially having lived in our house, which is very old. It's about 200 years old.
Crumbly.
You can see the appeal of a new build.
Yeah.
A square wall would be lush.
Square wall, no damp, no crumbling walls, no dust, so much dust.
No walls that are like a meter thick that you can't even hang a picture from.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pros to a new build.
Yeah, there definitely are. So that's kind of the first thing. In terms of adding character and charm and all of those things, there are so many things you can do. A new build is, and it doesn't matter on the style of house, the ceiling height, all of those things, it is literally a blank canvas that is so easy to play with. Things like skirting boards.
Yes.
If you want your home to look more luxury, if your new build home comes with small skirting boards, and maybe talking about value and spend is for a different episode, but definitely. If you want to make your house really homely and feel luxury and just like more designed, just replace your skirting boards and make them taller. If you repaint, just because it's painted in a colour by the developer, it doesn't mean you can't make it dark or make it cozy or add wallpaper, add paneling. You can do absolutely everything that those period homes had done to them in the building stage now.
Yeah, and technically it should be way easier.
Yeah, it should be.
Because
you can do a lot of it yourself. If you want to do
paneling, your walls are going to be completely square, hopefully. And
hopefully snagging list.
It's meant to be, but that's so much easier to panel on. And
so much easier.
Things like electrics, if you want to, all your sockets are probably, unless you've got a very nice high-end new build, it's probably just going to be plastic. So you can change them all to really nice
swap
ones,
them out to anything.
Change all the lights, change it. I know that's a lot of expense, so we're not talking about money here. Yeah, but
there's things there's a lot
you can do.
Definitely.
So maybe, from my point of view, I would say most new builds, unless you get something that's very unique, probably are soulless. To start with, and the whole point is that you're meant to kind of give it a soul.
But on the flip side, you go to a show home and a lot of them aren't soulless because they have the furniture and they have, because now they hire interior designers at these show homes who know what makes something feel homely and warm. And I've been reached out to design show homes and I haven't done it because I didn't feel like, I didn't have the time, to be honest, but it's all about layering and bringing your sense of family and identity into the home. So if if you've just moved into a new build, for example, as soon as you get some warmth and fabrics and furniture and your photos on the walls, it immediately will feel homely. And then you want to look at things like the more permanent things, so wall lights, ceiling lights, maybe cladding the ceilings, all of those things. And I think about, so our kitchen, I don't know if you will have seen it, but if not, you can see it on my Instagram at TobysHome. But our kitchen is essentially a new build.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't do it, but it was done like 20, 30...
Yeah, 20, it was 1990.
Yeah, so 30 years ago, which is not... That's
long,
essentially a new... It's not a period property, and it's a small extension. And so is our main bedroom, which is the one with the wood ceiling, and it's very cozy. It's got paneling, and everyone, I think, would assume that that's not new. That is
part of an old house.
It's part of an old house. It's just an extension of an old house. But essentially, that is just new build. And everyone thinks like, oh, I'd love to have a characterful thing like yours. That's not. And so we have a brick wall in our kitchen. That's just an exterior wall. So essentially, you could do, if you had a new build and you wanted to extend it or do something bigger, or just take the plaster off on the back wall and add some like brick to make it feel like a cottage, or you can do all of those things. And I do think to an extent you need to follow the age of your home and all of those things, but there's a way you can do it to add character and warmth. And
I guess people coming into your house, if you live in a row of houses that are all exactly the same, and then you've made it really old-fashioned inside, obviously that could be really nice, but you would know that that's not authentic. It just doesn't matter. But obviously it doesn't.
Although, have you seen, do you remember that program where they did like tours of weird and wonderful houses? And there was one, and if you know, can you please message me and remind me of the program? But it was a home in America, and I think it was America.
This is ringing a bell.
And they went in, it was like a normal looking kind of new build American style house, and they went in and it was decorated like a castle. Exactly like a castle.
This could have been on Netflix.
Yeah, it was on Netflix. Do you remember that house we viewed in Cheltenham? So earlier this year we were viewing houses, and we went to a house in Cheltenham which actually was a very old house. It was maybe like 100 and, I would say it was like late Georgian. And
oh my god, I forgot about that.
The interior, it had been, I think the person living there was actually a bit unwell. They did say that. The person said that they had...
But they were very talented with what they did, to be fair.
They were very creative, but they decorated it like a set from Game of Thrones.
They'd painted...
It was really intense.
All the walls in sort of castle style, as if you were in an old, like Game of Thrones.
It was grey bricks on the walls with the mortar, all hand painted, and it was
just on a wall,
a period, very Regency style house.
And there was also like painted like wall sconces, but not wall sconces, sort of like metal flame holder, like I don't know what they're called, but
like you would
the
have
flames that you can pick up off the wall and then walk them around as if you're like in a castle and you need a torch. There
were like knights and shining armor. The bathroom was
amazing,
covered in it was artistically,
there was a
amazing.
Door painted as a library, like a bookcase that you could open through to a utility room or something.
It was very creative,
amazing,
but not for us.
No,
we didn't move.
That probably would have been kept.
We actually were. We were interested though, weren't we? Even looking around, because we would have obviously renovated anyway. But we were very interested in it. But anyway, that's beside the point of new builds. But just goes to show
if you want a castle, you'll have it.
If you want to be a queen, make yourself a castle, because
don't be a drag, just be a queen.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if we've really answered anything there, but I would just say, as kind of hopefully to inspire someone who might be thinking about their family or moving, or please don't be put off from new build homes thinking that they have no life or no, because even... Okay, so you think about like photo shoots for brands, all of those pictures you have in Pinterest where it looks like cozy and warm, they're fake. They are set.
It's a set.
The Holiday, the film we all love, Nancy Meyer's film, the cottage in that is a set. It's completely fake and it looks like a beautiful old cottage. It's fake. So nothing is.
Yeah.
It's like our house. We've added every beam, even
so
our staircase.
Much of the character in our house is added.
All of the paneling we added.
When we first moved into our house, there were obviously, the kitchen had the brick wall and we had little alcoves and the fireplace and things that are characterful that you don't get in new builds. We did have them. But all the paneling, all the beams, the ceilings, even like the carpets that feel more traditional, and the flooring, everything. Like the kitchen flooring was not.
No, it was like
everything
IKEA floor.
Was added back in, whether it was there before or not. Even the staircase it's fake.
Like we added
it all back in. So if we had a new build, we could, not that we would probably, but you can recreate anything anywhere. Yeah,
you can choose what you like, and you hold the pen to write the narrative of your
You've
home.
got the power, so just do it.
You've got the key. I've got the.
I think we've had a lot more drinks this week than we have normally.
Goodness, we have. Forgive us.
To answer the question, new builds aren't soulless.
New builds, okay.
Don't feel like they're not.
Yeah. Right. Should we go on to? I don't know what's next. Tacky or tasteful?
Tacky or tasteful.
Let's go on to it. Right. We are.
Cocktail number 2.
On cocktail number 2, cheers.
Was it flower?
Drink number 5 though. So sorry everyone, we're going to be rolling into bed later, but it's the same cocktail again. So if you want to pour yourself another one, if you happen to be listening at home and
top up, not if you're driving,
not as you're driving or working, which is when I listen to my podcast. But for us, it's Friday night.
Oh yeah, it's Friday night.
Friday night and the cocktails flow. But what are we saying? So
we're on to tacky or tasteful.
Tacky or tasteful. We're going to try and keep these sections a bit quicker from now on, because we do realise we chat on a bit. And we don't want the podcast to be an hour.
We don't want the podcast to be just us chatting. No one wants to hear that.
Someone actually said to me recently, you know who you are if you happen to listen to this, said to me that they don't really like talkative people, and I was like, why are you talking to me then? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you think like, sorry, I literally talk
non-stop.
talk non-stop.
I think I also, today I was saying, we were driving back.
Do you know, Mikey was chatting so much earlier.
I was just going to say that.
I was like, I needed a wee, and it was just really...
I said to Toby,
me think about it. I was like, honestly, I'm going to piss myself.
We were driving back from the Old Trafford Centre.
I kept calling it the Old Trafford Centre, and Mikey was like, it's the Trafford Centre.
We were driving back from the Trafford Centre, and I had to stop myself about 40 minutes in, because I was like, I don't know if you've actually replied to a single thing I've said.
I was replying. I am mindful.
They were blunt replies, though. It was more
wow.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm so chatty today. What's up with me?
I was chatty all day. It was just in the car. I was a bit like on a lull.
But we had a few Prosecco tasters in Selfridges, and I think that
it perked you up a bit.
Me up.
I don't need a drink.
And a coffee.
Yeah.
Anyway, right, should we actually do what we said we were going to do?
Tacky or tasteful? Cue the jingle.
Do.
Tacky or tasteful? Right, go on. What is it? Can you not remember?
Oh, okay. So we, I think, are going to have to put our Christmas decorations up next week. So this coming week.
Yeah.
So
by the time you're listening to this podcast, our tree will be up.
Yeah. So decorating for Christmas first week of November, or in November in general. Let's do that. Decorating for Christmas in November, tacky or tasteful?
Tacky.
Do you think?
I think it's tacky. I think...
Even though we do it every year?
We do it every year, and I used to beg my mum to decorate in November. She would always say, no, 1st of December, 1st of December.
I always had that 1st of December.
Yeah, although your parents decorate.
Now they do the weekend closest to the 1st of December.
Yeah, which we were talking about with your mum actually yesterday. But I think it's kind of like on your birthday, which we do sometimes. And again, I want everyone to know this is coming from a judgment-free place. I do these things.
These are my views and no one else's.
Yeah, literally. I work for MTV, but these are my... What was it everyone used to say?
Everyone has it in their Twitter bio.
It was MTV
for, like,
people.
ITV, though, or anyone who is on a other entity will put on their bios, these are my views and no one else's.
That's so funny. Anyway, these are my views. But it's like on a birthday, if you open your presents at like 7 a.m, it feels like you're not classy enough to exercise the practice of patience.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
When we first met, I feel like you were a presents in the morning kind of a person.
I was. So mum, dad, again.
It didn't take you much convincing to go to.
No, it's because I like delayed gratification. Like, as a person, I would way rather work hard than play hard. I would never do the other way around. Like, I like my starter before I have my dessert, if you know what I mean.
Like most people.
Like everyone. But I think I decorate in November. Actually, it's a complete lie. I was going to say because
now you can say it's because of work.
Now I can say it's because of work. But when Mikey and I first moved into our home, before I maybe worked for the brand and I did my Christmas tree, we actually decorated before Halloween.
Yeah.
So that is pretty shocking.
We had a white snowy Christmas tree.
Yeah, we did, like covered in snow.
Honestly, if anyone could see what our first Christmas tree was like compared to what our Christmas tree is like, say this year when it goes up.
We had a green neon bulldog on the Christmas tree.
Yeah, and like loads of sparkly
I do like
champagne cocktails in bright pink, and it was so
it was bougie.
Different. It was very bougie. We still have all of the baubles because we collected a lot of them as sort of memories.
Yeah, that's why they were more like that. It's because we collected them when we went away. So yeah, but it's
in general you're going to say tacky.
In general, I would say 1st of December onwards is okay. It's normal. It does
feel like it's getting earlier and earlier though.
It's getting earlier and earlier, and to be honest,
I'm here for it.
No judgment here. I'm here for it. I do it. I encourage it. I love it.
Yeah. We've been singing Christmas songs.
We've been singing Christmas songs. We've had Mariah on. We've had Michael on. We've had Cher's new album on.
Cher and Michael together.
Yeah, Cher and
Dina Smith.
Whoever.
And whoever sings that song.
Whoever sings whatever with her. But yeah, I say do whatever works for you and your family. But if you're looking to be a classy lady or man,
like me,
unlike me, I'm the opposite of that, then top your cocktail with champagne and wait until December. And that is that.
P.S. Just kidding.
Okay, for my ick this week, I've actually got something really specific, which I don't know if this is just
I even agree with
Toby like neuroticism,
yeah.
a Tobyism. Yeah, maybe that's what we should call it. But I have a real thing. My parents had this when we were younger briefly, but I think when you have kids, this is completely acceptable. But I really don't like when, okay, so you know most houses downstairs, you have hard flooring.
Yes.
Okay, and you might have in your bathroom, you might have a tile. In your kitchen, you might have a limestone. In your hall, you might have wood or different flooring.
Hard, yeah.
So hard flooring, I think, find to be different.
Yeah.
I really notice and do not like when upstairs, if you're having carpets, I really do not like when the carpets are different. Room to room.
Really?
I really don't like it.
What about in the hallway compared to the bedrooms?
I don't like it.
Oh.
I would prefer wooden flooring in the bedrooms and carpet in the hall, or the same carpet throughout.
Yeah.
I would really not like the idea of having like a hardy carpet in the halls and then soft plush in the bedroom. I understand the logic, but the idea of it for me just feels really
We have always kind of disagreed on that because I've always said I like having carpet in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Because it's just nice underfoot.
Nice and soft for the toes. That's not my ick. The ick is mismatched carpets.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like when, maybe if it's very similar and you wouldn't notice, but kind of like what I say about colours flowing throughout the whole home. And I know this ick is a bit of a reach.
Yeah.
This is, I have got a lot more, trust me. But I wanted to say this because I was thinking about new builds, but like the theme for the week, when they don't do your floors.
Yeah,
and you choose your floors. And we had a friend recently who has moved into a new build, and they asked me what they should do with their flooring, and they were saying like, so if we want to have wooden flooring in here, does it matter if we have carpet in the living room, and then should we have the same carpet in the living room as we have upstairs? Like, whatever. And I was basically just like, same carpet.
Carpet.
It's kind of like the wood as well. If you're having a certain width plank in a certain tone, I think you should have that throughout your home.
So you
Unless
don't like mismatch with even woods.
tiles are the only thing I think mismatch works. Like you can have different tiles in the same room, like on the floor, on the walls, whatever. You can have different tiles on the floors, downstairs, upstairs. Wood, I still think I think it flows if you have the same wood tone better. I think it flows better throughout your home. So personal opinion, and again, let me know if you agree, disagree, or if you have that and you wanted to change it. Our house when we moved in had different carpets and it didn't bother me so much then, but I think now, having done a lot of projects where I kind of plan the whole thing and I know how I want it executed, I like that everything is fitted in one go. All the carpets are fresh.
That's the thing probably in a lot of people's houses is you change things periodically. You don't do it all at once. Yeah. So it is quite difficult to make sure it all matches.
It is.
So it's only when you're going to be doing a full renovation.
Yeah, so like with my parents, I think it was very similar, but they know when we were young, Lily, my sister, if she got makeup all over her carpet,
they'd have to replace that.
They would have to replace that carpet, and they might not sell the same one. So I think that is fully an exception. I think what I'm more talking about, final closing note, if you're renovating a house and you choose to have different say you're decorating one room blue and you're like, I want a grey tone. One room yellow and you're like, I'll have a beige one. I really don't like that you could be stood in the hallway looking into the rooms and there is a sea of carpets. We're not in SES, we're not in Carpet Right, we're in your house. You need to choose your style of carpet and stick with it, please and thank you.
Please and thank you.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay. Okay, final section. Design dilemmas. This actually, we've had a lot of love for this section. So thank you so much. And thank you for everyone writing in as well. I think, you've chosen, but I've had a few emails to my email address. But if you could make sure they are please directed to Mikey's, because he is much better at reading them and sorting them. But it's hello@TobysHome.com if you want to send us anything about your home or something you're not sure of when decorating, whether it's what wallpaper you should hang in a nursery, what colour you should paint your kitchen, or anything you have that we can talk about. And maybe even when we set up our community page, other people can share thoughts and stuff as well, because we're not saying we're
not interior design masters here.
Yeah, well, you're not. No,
I think one of them's actually on the laptop.
Oh, okay, cool. Do you want to do the other one?
Do the other one first?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so hi Toby and Mikey. I have a new build home that I've moved into with I picked this one because it was a new build, just to preface that, because I thought preface that. Hi Toby and Mikey. I have a new build home that I've moved into with my husband and 3 kids about 2 months ago, which has been hectic. Lol.
Wow.
We're just about ready to add our stamp to the home, which I'm really excited about as it's a real blank canvas. I would really like to add panelling throughout, but I'm not sure which style to go for, and my husband thinks it will look silly and old-fashioned. Any ideas of which style to have in a red brick contemporary new build that won't look too old-worldy? Thanks so much. Love the podcast. Emma.
Hi, Emma. Firstly, thank you so much. Thanks for saying you love the podcast. That's a very, very big compliment, and we're very grateful. Yes. I think you should absolutely add panelling to your home. I think if we haven't already kind of answered that in the episode, I think there's no limit on what you can do to your home. It's your home and you should freely kind of choose things you love and the style. That said, I do think your husband's right that maybe something really old worldy in terms of the panelling style could look dated quickly.
Yes.
So I would say a really, really good style of paneling or wall cladding to add depth to a space is adding V-groove, tongue and groove, any kind of simple vertical lined or horizontal shiplap paneling to add texture, depth and character without kind of looking
too much.
Yeah, because that style of paneling, I don't know, so any historians, please correct me, but I don't think it's too defined to an era.
No.
I think it's more kind of like chalet, lodge, more country inspired, as in a place, like more like Scandinavian and contemporary looking. So I would say look at those kind of styles of paneling. They can be really great at adding height to a ceiling.
Yeah.
And also look at your ceilings. So for a new build, it's not necessarily paneling, but you can add beams using just MDF kind of frames that you could make yourself if you're doing it yourself, or you could get a carpenter to do, or you could add V-groove or floorboard kind of plank ceilings if you would like to, like kind of we have with the oak ceilings, but you could do it painted. Anyway, sorry, it's actually going to be firework night around now, so
be able to hear that.
Oh, sorry, there are fireworks going off, and I'm conscious you might hear,
not
but
that loud.
yeah, so I would say absolutely go for it. Show your husband, or if this is anyone else listening trying to convince a partner, go onto Pinterest and search modern paneling, V-groove paneling, and go for something really clean and in contemporary colors. And
I think that is probably true, because I do think paneling right now is quite a big trend. Yeah. So while it might look nice now, in 5 years it might look really outdated. So if you've picked something that is quite old worldy,
it won't work with the house.
In a while, that will look outdated. Whereas if you go for something simple, then that will always work.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's not going to look really out of place.
Yeah, I agree.
I would say. I don't know.
Okay, cool. I hope that helps, Emma. Let us know what you do decide to do, and please send us any pictures.
Yes.
Next one. Cheers.
Cheers, Emma.
Cheers, Emma.
Right. Okay, number 2. Hi, Toby. Hi, I'm here too.
Excuse me, Kim.
To be fair, I'm not going to be able to help. Hi, Toby. Help! My kitchen diner is looking like a soulless corridor, and I don't know what to do. And I don't know what to do to make it feel more cozy and characterful. I've thought about paneling, cladding the ceiling. Oak will be too expensive. And then do I follow through the above kitchen? ? Console table, but will it look too tabley? I'm pretty sure that's not a word. I quite like this woman's vibe.
Yeah, me too. We love you, Kim.
Small armchair with standard lamp? ? I think the rug's too small. I have lots of thoughts and then get overwhelmed and don't do anything. Your thoughts would be amazing. I've attached photos. Sorry there's so many. Thank you for the podcast. I've listened this morning on my dog walk. Kim.
Oh, that's
Thanks,
lovely.
Kim.
Okay, so Mikey, do you want to click through the photos so I can see? And we will
ask if we can share them.
Yeah, if anyone is watching on YouTube, if Kim allows us, we'll share them on the screen. But if you could upload a couple so I can see the space.
Probably enough.
Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so
very nice.
Firstly,
kitchen.
Thank you, Kim. Yeah, so to just kind of describe the space, it's a really lovely big space. It looks like a contemporary home or maybe contemporary extension, but very well done.
Nice.
It looks like a wooden in-frame kitchen with an island painted in a pale bluish colour. Is it like Deneen?
Like a sky blue.
Or does it look like that? And it's got a limestone, like a polished limestone floor. Yeah. The rest of the cabinetry is kind of pebble coloured, and the walls are
off-white.
Very off-white, maybe pale grey. Yeah. With an oak dining table. So I know what you mean, Kim. There is quite a lot of blank space in the room. I would say, so that hopefully this can relate to people at home as well. And we addressed this in last week's episode. A bigger rug is needed, I think. Yeah. Just to be up front. I would I don't want to come across as rude. If it were me designing the space, I would say definitely go for a bigger rug. That will, if the rug kind of extends beyond the dining table a lot more, it will immediately make the space feel warm. Yeah. I think if your guests or your family, when you're kind of pulling your chairs out, if they can still be on that rug, that would immediately feel
and it will make
warmer.
The table feel less small.
It'll make it feel bigger. So that's one tip that I'd give. You obviously have mentioned paneling. You don't need to do anything. If you kind of wanted a suggestion, a bigger thing, I would actually say, kind of like we spoke about earlier with the paneling, a V-groove panel.
Yeah, would look nice.
Would look really nice. And I think you could do it in different depths as well. Width, sorry. So you could do some wider, some smaller, so that it's not, maybe if you choose a pattern where it's wide, medium, wide, small, medium small, so that
higgledy-piggledy.
Yeah, slightly different sizes that can look really, really lovely. And again, kind of extend the ceilings upwards and just add some depth. And it would also give you the opportunity to maybe paint the walls in a slightly warmer colour to just like add some warmth to the room, because you've said that it's not feeling particularly cozy and you feel like it feels empty. I would say as like a quick kind of trick to add some warmth and depth and character to a room, you can add mirrors.
Yeah,
mirrors, art, and lamps. So I can only see...
there is a lamp on the kitchen.
There's one lamp on the kitchen side, which is, great. I would say, kind of like you've said, adding a table, a console table, or a sideboard, something that has some kind of sturdiness that you could maybe put a mirror or some art above.
Yeah.
A couple of lamps would be great. Maybe on your... dining table, if you feel like it will look too tabley, as you said, you could add a really nice tablecloth, which will add some fabric and some softness to the space. I think that's the main thing you want to add, is softness. So at the moment, everything is quite clean and stark, and it is, for everyone listening, it is such a beautiful space. Like, this is a really lovely house.
Yeah.
But I think you're right that it could do with some softness and some lighter kind of fabrics and materials with some pattern maybe as well. So I would say a pattern tablecloth, maybe a console table, some mirrors, art, and lamps. And if you have the space, I think, excuse me, getting the hiccups. If you have the space, Kim, I think an armchair with a floor lamp and a side table, a nice space to sit and read. Or it looks like you have a dog by the dog bed. The dog can maybe jump up.
It looks like you have a dog by that dog bed and bowl in the corner.
Unless your partner is snuggled up in there at night, then I'm guessing you have a dog. But yeah, a nice armchair would be really nice. I would say don't shy away from getting big things, because you've clearly got the space.
Yeah.
And everything looks lovely. But yeah, I would say just add some more warmth and coziness, and don't be scared to layer things. And if you don't want loads of colour, like your blue island is beautiful, stick within that palette, and you don't need to add loads of other things. Layer woods, layer neutral linens, layer some of that blue colour, bring in a cushion in the blue, and lots of lamplight. It will immediately feel cozier and more designed. And yeah, it's going to look amazing, and I would love to see it when it's done. Also, sorry, one more thing. You could add a really nice olive tree.
Yeah, well, she has got a nice plant there.
Oh yeah, there's a plant in the corner there, but I'm thinking something tall that brings the eye up.
Plant onto a table or something, so a little side table. Yeah,
that would be a good idea. Something to kind of draw the eye up and envelop you in the room, rather than just focusing on the table.
One, focused on the table, but two, focused on the floor.
Because
the floor is the standout,
and the floor is so nice.
It's a really nice floor, so it's not a bad thing to be looking at, but your eyes are drawn down. So I was going to say, it seems like a lot of work, but almost, if I don't know if there's the space, but if the table could come nearer to the kitchen, if the layout's how I'm imagining, and you could add another ceiling light. So there were two lights over the table that would immediately kind of draw the eye towards you. And then in that back corner you could do something else.
You could put a chair or a nice chair there with a lamp, so that it feels more considered and cozy. But there's so much you can do, and
lovely kitchen.
It's such a nice space. Please let us know if you have any more questions, or maybe if you do any of those changes, we can share some photographs in our next podcast on YouTube, so everyone can see. But thank you so much for writing in, Kim. I think that's it for another week. Should we cheers to that?
It's quite a tame one that week.
Tame? What do you mean? Oh, because we were good. We only drank water. I hope you don't mind us having a drink on podcast,
that is
everyone.
The premise of the podcast.
The premise of the podcast. We put the I in the D.
We put the what?
I meant I in interior design. But I in the D. I don't know.
That's the third one.
That's the third innuendo. We should play innuendo bingo next week.
I used to love that.
But thank you so much for listening and making it through another episode.
Yeah.
Again, if you haven't listened before, we would really love if you could please follow our podcast wherever you listen, and if you're able to, and you enjoyed it, we really would appreciate a rate and review because it does help us massively. But we were actually number two this week.
In the design chart.
Yeah, which is very exciting, and we're really proud to be there. So thank you so much
everyone for listening. It's
amazing. I mean, I'm not going to say it again, but I just can't believe people actually listen to us because we chat.
I'm really interesting.
Mikey is more interesting than me, to be honest. But yeah, thank you so much. And
it was a bit longer this week.
Yeah, a bit longer, but we are more drunk, so hope you'll forgive us. But we're going to go now, eat some prawns, enjoy the cottage, finish our cocktails.
Yeah, put the fire on.
Put the fire on and get cozy. But yeah, thank you for listening to You, Me and Design.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
These clinks get better and better.
These clinks. That sounds rude as well.